Joining us today, we have two presenters, both from APH. Greg Stilson, he's the Director of Global Innovation, and Justine Taylor, who's the Low Vision Product Manager. And so they will be doing the presenting today. Let's talk about some challenges that you might face or that your students might face. Sometimes magnifying equipment is heavy, it's bulky, it's hard to move around, it's not portable. And sometimes you deal with eye fatigue during the day that makes it difficult to use magnifiers. There's times that seeing information on a board or from a distance is difficult. And getting students to use noisy or clunky or intrusive equipment can be difficult. So we see a lot of these same things when we deal with Braille displays, but also the same things with magnifiers. Sometimes folks just don't want to use them or they're too big. So we'll talk about how Juno can help with some of those things. And let's talk about our learning objectives today. So we're going to list 3 uses of the OCR, Optical Character Recognition function in the classroom. We're going to compare the 4 camera settings in Juno. We'll summarize the abilities of the intended user. So what kind of things can you do? You'll learn about those things. We'll explore and demo at least 3 features of Juno. And we'll learn how to use Juno in several different settings, outline 3 classroom uses of Juno. So basically, you're going to get a good introduction to what Juno is, what it does, and then lots of different settings, classroom and otherwise. So to get us started, well, let's hand it over to Justine.
All right. Hi, everyone. So we are introducing the Juno today, and it is a handheld video magnifier, and it has all of the features of a portable handheld with optical character recognition. So that is one of the main features of Juno. You can use OCR with a handheld. So moving on to the next slide, we'll talk about some of the features.
Ooh, but first we have a poll question. So let's go to the next slide and we'll introduce this poll question. Paul?
And this one is just a guess and have fun question. Okay, so what heavenly body is the Juno named after? Is it a large asteroid orbiting in a belt between Jupiter and Mars? Is it one of Jupiter's moons? Is it a dwarf planet? Or is it a black hole? And no, you didn't miss it. We didn't go over it. It's just a fun question. What heavenly body is Juno named after? A large asteroid orbiting in a belt between Jupiter and Mars, one of Jupiter's moons, a dwarf planet, or a black hole?
Absolutely, Paul. So this is following in line not only with our space trivia, but also the naming convention. For those of you who are familiar with Jupiter, which is a desktop magnifier, Juno follows in a similar naming tradition and is very much space themed. So go ahead and just take a great guess at which one of the poll questions are correct. All right, so Amy Stowe, who knows a lot about space, says it's a space probe. That's absolutely correct. NASA is currently using the code name Juno for a mission, but there is one of these that is correct. So a lot of people are saying currently Jupiter's moons. Susan says asteroid. Any guesses from our panelists today?
We did have the question earlier about the asteroid belt. I'm wondering if maybe there's a connection there.
Paul, it's like we have mind melded on some extraterrestrial moonscape, because you are exactly correct. I put that in a little earlier just to maybe tip people off. It is. So Juno used to be classified as a dwarf planet, but was reclassified as the largest asteroid in this asteroid belt that why am I having trouble with this word? Orbits between Jupiter and Mars. So thank you guys for participating in our poll today. Hopefully this is saying, you know, giving you a little bit of excitement about not only Juno, but also maybe going and looking into space a little. It's in the news all the time, and it's just definitely got me excited. So thanks everyone for that, your poll question. And I apologize, I realized I never hit launch polling, and that is on me, guys. I'm sorry, I'm double dutying today. So thank you for putting your answers in the chat. All right, well, let's hand it back over to Justine to talk about Juno features.
All right, so the Juno has a 7-inch matte LCD screen, and it also has a touch screen with some high contrast buttons. So it has a power button, it has a contrast button that can cycle through the different color modes. It has the magnification buttons where you can zoom in and out, and it has a button where you can capture that OCR and have the text read aloud. So it does have some physical buttons and a touch screen as well. And the menus are spoken aloud. So you can choose different voices for your menus to be read to you. And it has a barrel camera that rotates into different reading modes and different reading positions. So it has a near reading mode, and then you can rotate the camera to a handwriting and hobby view, and then you can rotate it for a distance view and then self view as well. And it also has a built-in stand.
Excellent. So I know we've got a slide, Justine, to talk about this later, but OCR is a really important feature of Juno. Can you just let our audience know? We've had a few people ask in the chat, what is OCR?
Sure. So it's optical character recognition. And basically the camera is capturing the text. You take a picture of the text, and it takes the text and just kind of translates it into text to speech, and it reads that text aloud to you.
Excellent. So it enables Juno not only to have these very high magnification levels, multiple color contrast, but also the ability to have text read to you. Thanks so much for clarifying what OCR is. That's such a great feature of the Juno. Now we're going to get into the barrel camera. So we'll go to the next slide. Justine, can you tell us more about this barrel camera?
Absolutely. So it's an HD autofocus camera. And like I said, it rotates 180 degrees to support some different camera positions. So you have the reading view, which is the near reading view. And when you open the stand, the camera will automatically rotate to that near reading view. So no matter what reading position you're in, even if you have the camera rotated to self view, if you open up that stand, it's gonna rotate that camera back to that reading view, the near reading. And then if you rotate the camera 45-degree angle, you're going to be in the handwriting and hobby view. And then if you keep rotating that camera straight out, you'll be in distance view. And then if you rotate that camera completely all the way towards yourself, you'll be in self view. So those are the different camera positions.
Great, and I can do that just with my hand. I can take my hand and rotate that barrel camera where I need it to be. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic. So speaking of reading view, we'll go to the next slide and we'll really dig into the benefits of Juno in reading view.
Yes, so there's multiple reading views, and Just bringing up my notes here. So you have, sorry, I've got a lot of PowerPoints. So you have, I'm not on the right slide.
No worries. I can read out some of these benefits. So
I've got it.
Oh, great.
Sorry about that. So with the multiple reading views, you have snapshots mode, and this just shows like the full screen capture. So when you take a picture of the text, you're in that snapshot view. So it's like a live view of that full screen capture. And then you can put it into teleprompter mode. And this shows the text in a paragraph form. And then the ticker tape mode shows the text with one line at a time. And there's also a view where you can put it into zones. And this just is a text that's highlighted and separated by numbered boxes. So you can quickly jump to different sections of your document.
Absolutely. And I know that Greg is going to be sharing with us some of the benefits of Juno in its reading view. But when we shared it with field testers, some of the benefits of this reading view with Juno, of course, with its reading and writing views, it's fantastic for completing tests and worksheets. Great handheld device for holding up above that stack of junk mail that everyone gets in, filtering it out, seeing what's important, what's worth keeping, what's not. And definitely that function of being able to use OCR on a page of a textbook. These are going to be great benefits for students. Well, we've got lots of people in the chat asking about distance viewing. So let's go to the next slide and really dig into the distance view of Juno.
Yeah, absolutely. So the distance view, you can see at a distance of 15 feet. So you could really use the camera when you rotate it to that distance position. You could use it to read a price tag. You could use it for viewing a flyer or a poster, a bulletin board, or the whiteboard in the classroom. If you're not gonna be able to sit in the back of the classroom and use the camera necessarily to see, tiny print on the whiteboard. But if you're up front in the front row, you could probably definitely see the board from the front of the classroom. So those are some things you could use the distance camera to view.
Great, and some questions are coming in. How far will the distance camera work? Do we have any specs on that?
15 feet.
15 feet. Thank you so much for answering that question. Someone asked in the chat how easy it is to switch between the different modes. Can you just talk about that briefly?
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy. It's just a camera that spins. It just rotates. So you can just take the camera and rotate it into the view that you want it to be in.
Great, thank you. And we'll go to the next slide. Thanks, Nikki. We'll talk about writing view now.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, when you rotate the camera about a 45-degree angle, you'll be in that writing mode. And you'll see that the camera kind of switches focus so that the text is kind of in a different view than it was in the near reading mode. So you'll be able to visually see the change of the camera as you rotate it. And the handwriting view, it's really great for short writing tasks like filling out a form, you know, filling out a worksheet, signing your name, writing a check. Those little tasks that, you know, if you're out and about and you're at the doctor's office and you need to fill out a form, or you're in the classroom and you have like a vocabulary worksheet, you can use the handwriting mode on the Juno to do a quick writing task.
Excellent. And let's go to the next slide. Hobby view.
So that is the same camera position in the same view as the handwriting view. So the hobby, we just want to emphasize that you can do hobbies with Juno, with the camera. And when you're in the handwriting or hobby view, there's menus on the side that you can bring up, and you're going to want to press the autofocus button. So when you're in those views, you want to have the autofocus lock on, so it's focusing on what your task you're doing or what you're writing instead of your hand. Otherwise, it's going to keep auto-focusing on your hand movement, and it's going to be blurry. So you just want to remember to turn that autofocus lock on when you're in that view, so you get the clearest image. And some hobbies you could do with Juno, you could sewing, if you're, you know, need to sew a button back on your shirt, or if you're into needlepoint or crocheting, you could do those tasks under the camera. Coloring or painting your nails, those are some things you could do in that view with Juno.
Awesome. And people are really excited to learn more about self-care view. So let's get to the next slide and talk about some self-care tasks that can be accomplished with the Juno.
Yeah, so you can rotate that camera all the way towards you, so you can see your face on the Juno's screen, and you can zoom in and out and be able to see your face clearly. I will say that the lights will turn off when you rotate the camera towards your face, so there's not bright LED lights shining into your eyes. Again, those side menus that come up, you can turn the lights on and off manually. But that rotating camera does have lights on it, and the lights will turn off when it's facing you. So you'll want to be in a well-lit room when you're trying to do your self-care tasks, or you can turn that light on if it doesn't hurt your eyes too much. And then, so you could use it to check your face or your teeth after you eat lunch. Make sure there's nothing on your face when you're going to your next meeting or your next class. You could do a self, check, plucking your eyebrows, shaving, or putting on makeup, or some things you could do for self-care.
Great, thank you for that. So we've had a few questions come in about the different views. Can we take some of those questions right now before we go into our demonstration?
Sure.
Okay, so one of the questions that came in is, what is the largest print size you can get on the screen? For example, can you zoom in just on one letter?
Yes, I'm trying to remember. You can change the font size. I think it goes up as high as like 50 or 60 point.
From a X perspective, I think it's 30X that you can go up to.
Oh, are you talking about the magnification level or the font size?
I think this question was about font size. I could be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on the font size, but I can tell you that you can get one letter to fill the entire screen. So real big.
Yeah, the font, it goes up really large. Like I said, it definitely, I have mine set normally on like 48, and it goes higher than that.
Awesome. So we'll talk about the stand in more detail after this demonstration. But in writing view, is there a stand for the device, or does the person need to hold the device in one hand while doing the task?
There's kind of use cases for both. So you can have the stand down and use it with the stand, or you can close the stand and hold it above your reading material, and you will need to do that to get a full page OCR capture.
Great. So that answers another question that came in. All right. Well, we're going to pause on questions for right now, and we'll turn it over to Greg to do a demonstration.
All right, we are going to share screen. And you guys should be seeing the screen of the Juno, is that right?
Yes, we can
Yes.
see the words the little.
Little, yep, you got it. So look, I've got a 4-year-old and a 10-month-old, and I read a lot of children's books, so I am very familiar with the Very Hungry Caterpillar. And we got a worksheet here on the Very Hungry Caterpillar that we need to fill in answers and things like that. So if I come up here, you see that here's your typical word box. We need to choose our words from the word box to answer these questions. So I just right now have the Juno in I've deployed the stand, which Justine will get into in just a second about what the stand is, but the stand is built in. And this is the view, this is the standard reading view that it defaults to. So I think as Justine mentioned, when the stand is deployed, no matter if I've got it in self view, I've rotated the barrel camera, let's just say 180 degrees, and I'm looking at myself. If I deploy the stand, it always defaults to the reading view immediately. You'll feel that camera immediately flip to get you back into the right view. So I could, and I'll just demonstrate a few things here. So let's just say, and I have so little vision that that I always tell people I have enough vision to get myself in trouble, really is what I have. But when you look at how this is, I believe, here, I'll zoom it out. And all I'm doing is using the touch screen. I'm just doing the pinch to zoom. But I can also use any of the side buttons. So I've got on the left side, I've got my top left corner, which is my power button. Beneath that is my color arrows that toggle me up or down to change my colors. So I only have 3 colors activated. I've got white on black, black on white, and true color. And I think I may have grayscale as well. But we've got a number of colors combination, blue on yellow, yellow on blue, all that kind of stuff that you can check and uncheck the ones that you want to be in the cycle. So, but every time you press these buttons, it'll tell you what it's going to do. So I'm going to try to get my microphone close to it. Change color mode to grayscale. Change color mode to grayscale. If I hit the up arrow, change color mode to black on white. Black on white. If I tap it now, it actually does it. So now you guys should be seeing it as black on white. It should toggle in and refocus. And let me know if you're not seeing that because I can't see that at all.
Oh, we did.
All right, great. I'm going to toggle it again. True full color is that. So that's what the true full color looks like. And I can zoom in or zoom out just by pinching and zooming. I prefer, just because it's the only way I can see anything, toggling to the white on black. That's the only I just heard the question. It looks pixelated. Let me tell you, we are doing some video card capturing acrobatics to show you the view from from Juno. So right now, just to describe what I've got here, and this is nothing that you would have to do when using Juno, but it's the way of our COVID virtual experience here of showing you what's on the screen. I've got it running through a video game capture card, which is then running into my computer, which is then being shared out to you. So it doesn't look pixelated here, but I'm sure as we send it over the internet through all these channels, it will look a little pixelated. But you know what? It's COVID. We've been doing it for a year, and we know how to be creative here at APH, right? So this is what we're doing. In a perfect world, you all would be able to get your hands on it and see it. But the view is very, very clear. I want to demonstrate the different ways that the camera adjusts. So Justine talked about the different positions, right? The different ways that it will adjust to handwriting view or distance view or self view. And what's cool about this is it auto adjusts as you turn that barrel cam. And all you're doing is physically rotating this camera right at the top of the device. And depending on the angle that the camera is at, the software inside will auto adjust and optimize the view for the experience that you want. So as I said, I've deployed the stand, and I'm going to move this down to the bottom of my paper. And now let's say that I want to look at something different. Right now we see that we're looking at questions 7 and 8. Let's say I want to look up higher, okay? So what I can do here is if I rotate it quickly, you'll see it fade away and now snap into focus. Now we have adjusted into handwriting view, okay? And it's adjusted now where I could fill in these blanks with a pen or pencil or whatever I'm doing. If I continue to rotate, you'll see that it continues to adjust on the fly. And then if I rotate past the point, now you see that I'm now looking at my wall, and I'm looking at the distance camera and things like that. Let me switch it into true color so it doesn't look like I'm in an alien environment. There we go. So there's my great wall, right? So there you go. As I'm rotating it down, now you see it snap back into focus. So now it's reached that kind of 45-degree angle where I can now write underneath it. I could do any of that. So one of the things that Justine also mentioned, I'm going to switch back into white on black. Justine also mentioned the sidebars. So this is a full touch screen. In the bottom left-hand corner, you see I think it's an arrows. If I tap on that, because I consider myself a blind person, right? That I have enough vision where I could maybe filter through. I could never do a worksheet like this myself. But what's cool about this device is that it has accessibility features for people with super, super low vision, like myself, right? Like I've got maybe enough vision to see if I zoom in really, really, really significantly, I could read these words. But I can see that there's like a square on the bottom left-hand corner. I don't know, I think it's arrows, but if I touch it, it says restore button bar. And if I tap it again, now the button bars appear on either side. And what's cool about this is that I can see that there's something there, but I don't know what those are. So if I touch them, it says main menu. I touch the next one, volume and speech rate. I touch the third one down on the bottom or on the bottom left. Hide button bar. If I tap that, it goes away. On the top right, if I touch this, turn off lights. Second one down on the right. Display a reading line. And then the bottom right is the one that Justine was talking about, is lock focus. And if I lock the focus now as I move my hand, my alien looking hand, you don't get the strange autofocus mechanism. And that's what you want to do if you're going to be writing. So I'm going to tap again on unlock focus and tap again. So that first touch on the button reads what the button does. The second touch activates it. Okay. And this is super valuable. It's something that I know some magnifiers do. I personally wish that a lot more of them would do, just because somebody like myself or my wife, who both have very, very, very limited vision, right? But we can still take advantage of some of these type of things. And I'm sure you encounter students that, may have significant eye fatigue, right? That need a little bit of speech to help them advance as they progress through, especially as the day moves on, right? So, and the cool part about this is that this is throughout the entire, if I tap on the menu here, tap on the menu, any of the menu items, open file manager, about this device, if I tap on about this device, you know, it reads everything that I'm touching and allows me, even though I can't see what those are, it allows me to run through the interface just as if I could see those things. So I'm going to go ahead and pause there, and we'll roll back up, and then I'll do another demo of some OCR work.
Great. Thank you so much, Greg, for showing us the Juno in action. We'll get back to our slide deck. And the next thing we'll talk about is this built-in stand. We've talked about how this, when you activate the built-in stand, the barrel camera is going to immediately rotate into reading view. But Justine, any other features of the built-in stand?
Not really, just that it has the stands. I think we'll go over the ports on another slide. But yeah, it just has a stand that you can deploy, and you can pull the stand out and have it flat on your reading material, and use it that way, or you can collapse the stand and close the stand and hold the Juno above what you're reading as well.
Great. And someone had asked, once the stand is deployed, can I then move the camera into self view?
Yes, you can use the camera in any of the positions, in any of the different views with the stand opened or closed.
Great. So while it does automatically rotate to reading view, I can use it for distance view, self-care view,
Yep.
etc.
Yep, you could close the stand and you can put it into the near reading view, the distance, self view, writing. You can have all the different rotations and positions of that camera with the stand open or closed.
Wonderful. And we also are pointing on this slide to the headphone jack. That's on the left-hand side of Juno. It's the top port, which is really fantastic. Students can have their headphones in and quietly listen to their materials in class. And it would be fantastic for adults on the go who need that extra bit of speech support to be able to discreetly listen to documents without anybody listening in. All right, we'll go to the next slide. We're going to talk more about the details, the nitty-gritty details. Now, these are some features that we've mentioned before, but Justine, what can you tell us about magnification, color contrast, line and mask features, and so on?
Yeah, so the magnification range is 2x to 30x magnification level. It has 24 color contrast modes. And like Greg was mentioning, you can choose and select which colors you want, and it will cycle through the ones that you've chosen from the menus. It will have 5 default colors, and then you can go into the menus and change those, and you can add or remove the ones that you use a lot or don't use at all. And it has adjustable line and mask feature. So you can, I think you saw in one of the side menus, it said turn on the reading line, and if you pressed it again, it would turn on the mask. So you have an easy way to keep your place while you're reading with the line and mask feature. And then a really great, exciting feature that this handheld does as well is exam mode. So there's teacher settings where you can select the different settings, and you can kind of like lock out certain specific features so the student can use the magnifier to take an exam. So they can't access their files or, save a capture, so they can't, take a picture and save that. So you can really kind of like customize the settings for an exam situation.
Yeah, that's a really important feature of the Juno and really fantastic to have in such a portable handheld magnifier. Great. We've got one more slide before we go into our demonstration. Great. So we'll talk a little bit more about OCR.
Yes. So that's the optical character recognition. You hit the capture button and you can take a picture of the text and it will OCR it. And you can hold, to get the full page OCR, you close the stand and you hold the Juno above your reading material. And you can have Juno in portraits. So in a vertical position in portrait mode, and you can capture a full page capture. You can do multiple page captures and really kind of navigate through the different pages of your document with page navigation. So, and then once you take that capture, it's going to automatically do the different zones in that document. So you'll see numbered boxes. So you'll see a number and like a highlight around each box of the different zones. So you can quickly jump to different sections of your reading material. So I think I covered all those, the OCR, the full page capture, and you can do multiple captures.
Great, thank you. We had a few questions come in. Some are about the headphone situation, some's about the camera. So we know the Juno has a headphone jack. Does it connect with Bluetooth headphones?
No.
Great, so it's got that headphone jack for a great purpose. Use physical headphones that connect to your Juno. When rotating the camera, does it click into each view, or is it a continuous turn?
It's a continuous turn of that camera.
Great. And another question that kind of relates, does speech let you know what view you are in when you are rotating the camera? Does it announce that you're in self-care, to distance, to reading?
No, it does not. But you can see with the autofocus, you can see on the screen which view you're in, but it doesn't announce it.
Yeah, and I hope that as I was demoing that, and hopefully that came across when I was turning the camera, you can see it visually click into place, where it was kind of doing that like fade away thing as I moved it up, and then all of a sudden you got into the handwriting view where it allowed you to kind of focus on what you were looking at higher up, and it kind of clicked back into place, and it was no longer doing that like fade away type of thing.
Great. And one more question before we jump into another demonstration. This is about the exam mode. Do you anticipate any pushback from state testing coordinators if students use the Juno for state testing?
I wouldn't think so, because you can put in a pin number, and it will lock that device down for a selected amount of time. So the teacher really has control over how long, the duration that the device is locked down, and the student cannot access any of the other features. So it is pretty secure, and I wouldn't see why the testing, the testing sites would have an issue with that. Once they see that it's locked down, they should be able to use it for an exam.
Great, thank you for that, Justine. All right, well, let's jump right into another demonstration with Greg.
All right, we're gonna go back to the very hungry caterpillar. You guys ready?
Great.
Do it.
Yes.
All right, so what I've done is I have closed the stand. I am now holding it, holding the Juno in my hand. And this is the way that you capture a full page. I could capture up to half to 60% of the page using the stand. So if there's some section that you would like assistance reading, you can do the capture at any point. But for a full page capture, you want to hold it, you know, above the paper.
Greg,
So
are you sharing your screen now? Because I
I
can't see it.
am, but apparently it's not. So and how about now?
Great.
Yeah. Yes.
Rock
Yes.
and roll.
Now
All
we're
right,
back
cool.
on.
Here we go. So in preparation for Zoom failure, I also scanned a page ahead of time. So if this fails miserably, because I've got 3 cords connected to my Juno in my head right now, then it is possible that the OCR will not do well. That's not a symptom of Juno. That's a symptom of my environment, unfortunately. I'm trying to get it to run through this capture card and things. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hold the Juno up over our Hungry Caterpillar paper. And I'm going to tap the top right corner button, which is capture. I heard the click. It's now capturing. And it's done the capture at this stage. I can change my view now back to the white on black view, and I can, well, it did not zoom in very well, but let's try to recognize the text. I can't visually see it, but let's see if there's any text there. I don't think it is, but if I tap the recognize text button, which is the second down on the right, it's recognizing. And you can tell that it's having a bit of a hard time. So I'm going to cancel out of it, and we'll try to snap the photo again.
Yeah, I think it was a little blurry, Greg. I think,
So we're going to try again. So I'm going to come up. I've got a cord
yeah,
that's
and
probably.
tap the screen.
Yep, we're going to
Push
close.
it all the way.
Okay, we're going to try snapping a photo again.
That looks a bit better.
Snapping the photo. And if I tap the recognize text, okay, so it's recognized the text. Let's check on the accuracy. So if I can flip open the stand now that I don't need to see it, and I can hit the play button in the bottom center. And I don't know if you could hear that, but it was reading exactly as we expected. It asked me to select a word from the box, and it read the box words, and then it started reading the questions. What I can do now is I can demonstrate. I think, Justine, you're going to get into these in just a second, but I'll demonstrate the different views. So I'll tap on restore button bar, and now on the second one, I can change to teleprompter mode, which now puts me into a digital text kind of view. And I'm just using my finger to scroll up and down, scrolling all the way up. And at this stage, use a word. And it's saying the little lay on a leaf, because there was, if you remember, there was a blank in between the little, it should say egg, because I know I've read the book, guys. I'm really an expert in the Hungry Little Caterpillar. But at this stage, that's you're seeing it, the box kind of track where I am. And if I tap the change to ticker tape mode, I can now see one line. And if I hit play again, so now we're actually seeing one line. So if the user is, and I can zoom in, or I can change this here to go back to the zone. And now I'm back in the zone view, where you're seeing the different sections of the document. So you have those 3 views. And at this stage, I could choose to save the document. The top right is close. Save is the bottom right. And if I tap save, I can now choose to save this document, and it says save document, and I can tap on no or yes. If I tap on yes, it says file saved. I tap on OK. And what's cool about this is that it says, do you want to record an audio tag? And at that point, what that'll do is rather than making the user read all the information that's, it's tagged as, usually it's a timestamp and whatever like the first few words of the document is, I can actually tell it to be something. So if I save it here, I'll say yes. I can tap the record button. So I'll tap that now. Very hungry caterpillar. I tap it. You just heard it. It said very hungry cat. Very hungry caterpillar. And I can, at this stage, be done at that point, and now it's saved. So, so you have the ability to save. Justine, do you remember how many documents we can save?
It has 4 gigabytes of storage, so you can save about 600 files, 600 images.
And you can provide audio tags. So now if I go back, I'll close out of this. My document's closed. I can now open up the file manager. Tap on the file manager, and now you see so I have 2 very hungry caterpillar documents because, as you can see, I have a backup document because this isn't my first rodeo, folks. And so, so that just shows you how quickly it is, or how easy it is to save those files with the tags that are important to your students so that they can find them. They don't have to read through all the metadata that's tied to it, and they can just tap and listen to the audio tags as well. I'll go ahead and stop there. I'll stop my sharing and let you continue, Justine.
Great. We've had so much fun talking about Juno. We've got about 5 minutes left in our presentation time. So we'll jump quickly into talking about file and document storage.
Yes. So you can transfer files to and from the Juno from your computer. You can also use a USB-C flash drive, and you can have the student can use that flash drive to get their files onto Juno as well. And like I mentioned, it has 4 gigabytes of storage, and you can save approximately 600 images. And the files it supports is JPEG, PDF, DocX, and there's a few others as well. And you can save files using the audio tags, as Greg demonstrated. So it's really nice that you can put files from your computer onto Juno. You can also name those files on the computer, and it will keep those file names on Juno, so you don't have all that crazy long numbers and random words. You can name those files, and then file name transferred to Juno from your computer, or you can put it on a flash drive. And the Juno has a USB-C port, and the teacher could save all the students' reading materials, their worksheets, books, articles, and have the student use that flash drive throughout the day to access their documents by just putting the flash drive into Juno and opening those in different classes if they didn't have access to a computer throughout the day.
Great, thank you for that. We are quickly running out of time, so I want to make sure in these last 3 minutes we talk about some of the extras and what comes in the box for the Juno. We do want to say a big shout out to Vispero, who was our partner in developing Juno. So thank you, Vispero, for your help and your continued support of this project. Juno is going to be a really fantastic feature. So let's talk about those extras, and then we'll jump straight to what's in the box.
Sure. So it has a nice padded protective carrying case and with a strap. So it comes with a nice carrying case. It has a built-in user guide. You can set the date and time, and it supports multiple languages. So you can have English, French, Spanish, German, or Chinese are the languages you can have Juno read in.
Great. So Justine, what is the cost of Juno? While we skip to our next slide, what's in the box? What's the cost of Juno?
So the quota price is $10.95, and then the non-quota price is at $12.95, and there's a 1-year warranty.
That's a great price for all that you get with the Juno. So we'll close out on what's in the box, and just let us know what the Juno will come with when it's available for purchase.
It will come with that zippered padded carrying case, the Juno magnifier itself, obviously. There's also a Juno quick start and user guide that will come in the box, and the USB Type-C cable, and the charging pack, and an HDMI to mini HDMI cable. So there's also an HDMI port, and you can use the Juno on a larger monitor.
Great. And is the user guide or the quick start guide, are those also in the, is that built into the Juno?
Yes, so the user guide's built into the device, but it also comes with the physical booklet for the user guide and a quick start. And the quick start fits into the case. It'll fit in there with it.
Oh, that's very convenient for carrying it around. Well, thank you, Justine and Greg, for introducing us to the Juno today.